Hey guys, happy astrological new year and spring equinox. Now I know I'm a couple days behind this, but I always do my videos on Wednesdays to post on Thursdays, so I'm now just saying happy astrological new year and happy spring. Spring is one of my favorite seasons. For one, my birthday is early spring, and I just love the warm season, so I'm always happy to see spring. But if you're anything like me, this spring equinox and this astrological new year has started off kind of rough for me anyway. It's Aries season, it's a new moon, there's a whole lot of energy that's happening right now within our astrological system. So for me, my sun is in Aries, and I don't most of the year I do not really relate to my sun sign, because my sun sign is actually in my second house, but that's not really important. What I'm saying is when the Aries sign comes around, that's when I really feel my Aries. And for me, especially this year, it has been also a rough start. Like I said, there's been a lot of I'm gonna just say a lot of people testing me. And I know it's not the people themselves. I know it is spirit. Every once in a while, a spirit will test you to see if you're the person that you really say you are, the person that you really think you are. And for that reason, I have some messages for y'all today, some lessons, some wisdom that I have gained. And I'm not going to say I gained it just now. I kind of knew these things already, but these lessons were kind of coming back around full circle for me to remember and to strengthen myself on. So I thought I would share these messages and these lessons and this wisdom with y'all. I originally had them written down on my phone, but I record with my phone, so I wrote them down, so I will be reading. By the way, this is my journal. I designed this myself. I drew it, and then I edited a little bit, like a little bit of digital editing. But if you would like to buy one of these, or you want to see what else I have, what other products I have, I do have a shop on RedBubble. I will be giving y'all a link so y'all can go and check that out if you want to. So, and this title really just makes sense to me at this time of my life, but you might find some relation to it. So the title of these lessons are, this period of your life is multi-purposeful. So if you started off Aries season kind of rough like I did, then there's likely multiple lessons that you can get from this. So let's just start with number one. Other people's hurt and anger is usually not about you. Don't make the situation worse by going back and forth with them if it isn't. So I know me personally in my life right now, I am dealing with someone who I know for a fact has some old hurt and some old anger within them, and I found myself receiving the brunt of it. I won't really get into the situation, but it happened so suddenly You know, one day things were just fine, and the next day, you know, things were not fine. And at first it was very shocking, and it seemed like it really just came out of nowhere. Things just changed just like that. And I had to step back and kind of look at things, you know, bigger picture, because, you know, there was nothing that I had done that logically warranted that type of behavior towards me. And so I had to tell myself, remind myself, like, hey, this is likely not even about you. So don't take it as if it is. And honestly, don't even go back and forth with these people. Don't get into an argument. If you feel a conversation is necessary, by all means, but especially when there's old negative emotions that are coming up, 9 times out of 10, they don't come out in a pretty way. 10 times out of 10, they don't come out in a pretty way. So it's best to not even put yourself in a back and forth dialogue with anyone who is purging, anyone who is kind of releasing old and repressed emotions that are just now coming out. So that's number 1. Number 2, don't allow our irate people to get you out of character. Don't take what is said to heart when they communicate from this place. So once again, if somebody's coming at you in a very irate way, in a very disrespectful way, in a very passionate anger way, whatever they say, don't take it to heart. I like to believe that when people come from this place, they say a lot of things that they don't really mean. And I'm not going to say, you know, every negative thing that somebody says they don't mean, but it's not always that they mean it. So even though they may come at you in a disrespectful way, try not to take it to heart. At this moment in time, they're probably just getting these things off their chest, and they're doing it maybe not the best way they know how. They might be doing it the worst way they know how, but the fact of the matter is they're doing it the way that they're doing it because they're expressing these emotions. And a lot of times when we express ourselves through anger and hurt, we can say some things that we don't mean. We can say some things that we otherwise would not say. But don't allow these people or these instances, don't allow them to get you out of character, because you'll just add more fuel to the fire, and it will not be pretty for either of y'all. Okay. Number 3. Just as quick as things took a bad or negative turn seemingly out of nowhere and unprovoked, things can also take a great or positive turn very suddenly. You have to know that. So this one was really challenging for me personally, because in the past I have had the tendency to believe that, you know, all of these bad things happen to me, but nothing good happens for me. And that's something that I've been working on for a long time, you know, my belief system around good things happening for me. But the more I learn about energy and how energy works, energy in itself is just energy. Whether it's negative or positive is very subjective. And even if you have some negative energy that's coming to you, coming into your life, you have to understand that negative energy and positive energies are just two extremes. If you can have negative energy come into your life, you can have positive energy come into your life just as easily. The only thing is you have to believe that. You have to know that. And honestly, you have to expect it. I've always been the type of person, and I like to believe that I'm not this person anymore. I've been working on it. But I had this tendency to believe that I needed to always be prepared for the worst. And that's with anything in life, you know, things happening to me, or, you know, people acting a certain way to me, or, you know, something happening to my car, you know, just everything. I've always had the mindset of prepare for the worst, because you never know what's going to happen. And that's true. But in order for us to start attracting better positive things into our life, we have to have the same mindset with positive energy. Always be prepared for positive things to happen. Always be prepared for good, great things to happen to you, because you never know what's going to happen. So that was a little bit challenging for me, but when I think about it, it makes sense. Just as much bad things, just as many bad things happen, the same amount of good things can also happen. All right, number 4, whatever situation or person you can't control, hand it over to spirit. Remove yourself completely if necessary and or possible. So whenever you find yourself in a situation with someone, or just an occurrence where you can't control it, you really just have to hand it over to spirit, to God, to source, whatever you like to call it, because you will only discourage yourself the more that you try and control a situation that cannot be controlled just by you and your humanness. I had to remove myself from a few situations, and this is not just the one that's happening right now, but I've had to remove myself from situations before, because, you know, a lot of times you'll have that one person who just keeps talking, they keep yelling, they keep cussing, whatever they're doing, they're doing it continuously, and, you know, there's nothing that you can really do to calm them down or stop them or whatever. And this is not to say that, you know, you run away every time you run into trouble, but just acknowledge when things are out of hand, or at least out of your hands, and there's nothing that you can do to change it, at least at the moment, or at all. So you have to know that spirit has your back. If you can't figure out what to do, leave it alone. It'll work itself out. Spirit will work it out. The other person will, you know, come around and work it out. You can't always control the situation. You can't always persuade the other person to kind of listen to what you're saying. So whenever you find yourself in situations that are not in your hands, let it not be in your hands. Put it in spirit's hands. Spirit will figure it out. The last number 5. Do your best to not let your mind and heart go back to the way things were, even if it was recent. Things have changed for a reason. Do your best to accept the current reality and go with ebb and flow of things. Go with the ebb and flow of things. So this was another kind of challenge for me as I in the past, I've had this tendency to kind of say to myself, you know, I can't believe that this is happening. I can't believe that this happened to me. You know, things were good. Things were just fine yesterday. How is this happening? And it gets like that. It gets to a point sometimes where you're like, I never would have seen this coming. And a lot of times we don't see those things coming. And that's not something that we can sit and ruminate about, because it'll keep us stuck there. We have to keep moving forward, and you can't rush the process of things. It is bad right now, but it will get better. It always gets better. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better, but nothing lasts forever. No moment lasts forever. This one was really hard for me because I do kind of sit and wonder where things went wrong. I do kind of sit and wonder, you know, how things went wrong. But you have to allow things to flow. You have to allow the process to unfold. You have to allow things to play out. And even though things will not go back to the way it used to be, you might move forward and things might get to a place where they were similar to what they were before, but it would never be exactly the same. It might get back to a point where it was just as good. A lot of times it gets to a point where it was better, where it gets better than what it was before. But it would never be the same. And you have to live through every single moment. You have to flow with every single moment. You can't escape it. You can't allow yourself to get stuck mentally in the past. Okay, those were all the number points that I have, but I do have a couple more messages. One is kind of just like a wrap up of the numbers. And the last message I have is from part of a dream that I had this morning, actually. So my whole wrap up of these number lessons are: these various trials are always meant as a catalyst for growth, never punishment. It only hurts for now. You will appreciate the growth later. And this is not just for when you're going through stuff. This is literally just a life lesson. Things happen. Life happens. And a lot of times we can feel like we're being punished. We can feel like the victim. We can feel like, you know, we don't deserve this. Why is this happening to me? You know, those are the things that go through our mind. But honestly, if we don't go through things, we never develop our character. We never get better as a person. We never grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We will stay stagnant, and we will stay as undeveloped as we were if nothing ever happened. So it might feel like punishment right now. It might hurt right now. But 5 months, 2 years down the road, you're going to think back and you'll appreciate it because you'll be stronger for it. So this is my last message, and this came from, I won't tell you the whole dream because it won't make sense, but the part of the dream where I got this message, I was in kind of a bar situation. There were pool tables, and there were 2 sets of balls on the tables, like all of the solid balls, the striped balls, the whole set. One set was a super huge set, like bigger than the actual size of the billiard balls. And then there was a super small set, like it was for like children almost. And then you have the pool sticks. There were some that were super like oversized, and then some that were like literally so skinny and so small, and some of them were like a soft material, almost kind of like felt, it looked like. And there weren't any normal size like pool balls or pool sticks anywhere. So this is the message that I got from that. And I felt like some other people could benefit from hearing this. So here's the message. If you're going to play small, you get a small tool and you get small results. If you're going to play big, you get a big tool and you get big results. If you're going to play it just right, then you already have the tools you need and the results will be just right for you. The table is already set, but how are you going to play? So a lot of times we hear people say, oh, play big, dream big, go big or go home. And that's fine. That's fine. It encourages you to push yourself to reach your potential, your absolute max, if you will. But sometimes we don't really need to play it big. Sometimes we need to, I'm not gonna say play it safe, but we need to play it as far as we can go. And this is not to say that as far as you can go, it will end there. So once you get there, you might be able to go a little bit bigger. But sometimes we need to start where we can. But it still is important to not play yourself small, especially if you know your potential, especially if you know your skills and your talents. It's very important for you to not play yourself small. So the table is set. How are you going to play? I hope y'all got some inspiration from this. I know it was a little bit longer, and if you stay towards the end, thank you. And I hope you got some wisdom from this. If you're like me and Aries season started off pretty rough with you, I hope this gives you some comfort in knowing that everything will be just fine, but you will be a stronger person for it in the end. I promise you, you will. So thank you for watching. I hope y'all got some inspiration from this, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Be well.